What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to It's a Work. We're going to go into our Raw recap from April 16th, 2018, the Superstar Shakeup edition of Monday Night Raw. I'm Travis from It's a Work. Let's just jump right into it. So Raw started out with Kurt Angle coming out to talk a little bit about what the Superstar Shakeup was going to be and how it was going to go. And wouldn't you know it, our first new Raw competitor, Jinder Mahal, the United States Champion from Smackdown Live. I don't have anything wrong with Jinder coming to Raw, and I didn't have him picked in our Superstar Shakeup predictions video, which you can check out here, but it's okay with him on Raw. My only real fear is that he's going to get lost in the shuffle. He was on SmackDown, he was doing well on SmackDown, he was the United States Champion. Bringing him to Raw, where he came from, doesn't seem like the best idea to me. Jinder left Raw as kind of a jobber. He wasn't doing a whole lot, he was getting buried there. He went to SmackDown, became a main eventer within a month. Then he got a mid-card title, and now he's back on Raw. Because of the way Jinder was treating Kurt decided he was going to hold an impromptu US title open challenge. Who would answer that open challenge? Jeff Hardy. Now all in all, this was a pretty fine match. Obviously, the whole crowd's going to be behind Jeff. Jeff ended up walking away with the title, and now I honestly think Jeff's going to end up on SmackDown with that title, because we've already got the Intercontinental title on Raw. We'll see how it goes on SmackDown, I guess. Moving on, we ended up having Bayley versus Sasha Banks. And that's fine, it's a match that we all wanted to see, but it wasn't a match that we expected we'd see on a regular Monday Night Raw. The match went fine, but then the Riot Squad ended up coming out from SmackDown Live. That's another acquisition for Raw. Riot Squad's fine, I think that they can actually do really well on Raw, so we're going to see what happens. But they not only attacked Sasha, but they attacked Bayley too. Definitely leaving them to be brand new contenders in the women's division on Raw. We'll see how that kind of turns out. Next up, we have Heath Slater and Rhino facing the Authors of Pain. Now, as a tag team match, this was actually a pretty good classic style tag team match. It was paced really well, everybody got in a little bit of what they needed to, and there were obvious face and heels in this match. What I did not like about this match is that the Authors of Pain didn't really look like the monsters that they've been built to be. In NXT, they were such a dominant force. Here, Heath and Rhino got in a pretty good amount of offense, which you wouldn't expect to see when the Authors of Pain are the Authors of Pain. It's kind of what they do, is inflict pain. Now Rhino's a pretty big guy, so it makes sense that he can somewhat hold his own, but when you build a dominant tag team, build a dominant tag team. They shouldn't be back and forth like they were with Heath and Rhino. That should have been Authors of Pain the entire match, and even though they picked up the victory, it still seems like they could have been booked better for that match. Now it's time for the most must-see talk show in WWE, Miz TV. Miz came out with the Miztourage, as expected, as always, and he said that he had two brand new talents for Raw, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This was probably one of the best segments of the entire show. You had Kevin, Sami, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, and The Miz all hugging and jumping around in the middle of the ring like a bunch of schoolgirls. It was pretty ridiculous to watch, but just because of how they did it, it makes you want to hate them, and that's exactly what you should do. They're all heels. Why not hate them? But that brings Kurt Angle out. Kurt comes out and explains how last week Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn both had their chance at Raw contracts. The match ended in a draw. No one gets a Raw contract. Wouldn't you know it, old Sami Zayn's got a trick up his sleeve. Pulls out an email from Stephanie McMahon saying that she is granting both of them contracts for Monday Night Raw. Kurt accepts this and says that that's not even really why he's out there, that he had another talent for later. So Kurt makes the main event a 10-man tag team match, with The Miz and the Miztourage, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn taking on Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and the soon-to-be new superstar for Raw. This takes us into the Raw Tag Team Tournament that they've been using to build up the new Tag Team Championship match. Whoever's going to win this faces the Bar. Now it ended up coming down to Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy taking on the Revival. And this match was actually pretty good, even though realistically I'm interested in anything that has the Revival, and I'm interested in anything that has Matt Hardy right now. And Bray Wyatt is a perfect partner. I'm absolutely loving what they're doing with Matt and Bray right now, and I didn't even expect this to be a tag team when it first started. But so far, I'm absolutely loving it. Matt and Bray came out on top in this match, and they're going to go on to face The Bar at the Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. We'll see how it goes. Winner wins the Tag Team Championships, and I would love nothing more than to see Matt and Bray finish their expedition of gold. Next up, we had another women's match for the night, which ended up being last week's new acquisition, Ember Moon, taking on Mickie James. The match was fine, it could have been a little better, but I think all in all they did what they had to do. And that eclipse at the end was awesome. Mickie James really sold for that and made it look like it was a devastating move. Loved it. Glad Ember Moon walked away with the win. All in all, the match was a good time. Not bad. On to another brand new acquisition for Monday Night Raw. Dolph Ziggler, of all people. You could hear that record scratch from a mile away, and people seemed like they were pretty happy to have Dolph on the show. Dolph was cutting his little promo, doing his thing, when Titus Worldwide comes out to try and grab themselves another top star. While Dolph seemed like he was kind of interested in what Titus had to say, he mentioned that he didn't come to Raw alone. And wouldn't you know it, Drew McIntyre comes out and attacks Titus Worldwide. Everyone loved seeing Drew. And seeing Drew as a monster heel is awesome. The guy plays the character great, and he's a great athlete. It's good to see him healthy again after being injured in NXT. Dolph and Drew seemed pretty dominant against Titus Worldwide. Even though it was only Titus Worldwide, it gives you that quick glimpse into the future of what they can be doing on Raw together, and it makes me really excited to see what they are going to do. Next, after advertising for it pretty much all night, Roman Reigns finally made his way down to the ring to cut his promo, and it started out essentially the way that they have leading up to WrestleMania. He talked about how he was there and Brock wasn't there, and people hated it. Fans booed. It was a pretty mixed crowd, I guess, but the boos definitely outweighed the cheers here for Roman. Understandably so. He was doing the same thing he's been doing for well over a month now. Thankfully for us, Samoa Joe made the save, and Joe came out and absolutely killed it on the mic. Joe's been consistent the last 2 weeks, making Roman look like a fool and making the fans absolutely love everything he's saying. It was a pretty good segment, and it really makes me excited to see what's going to happen at Backlash when these two finally actually face off. Now, I think Joe is obviously the more dominant competitor, and I think Roman is still not doing what he needs to be doing. We're going to see how it goes. They may put Roman over, but I'm excited for the build-up to see how it goes. Should be a good time. Now here's actually a surprise. We have our third singles women's match of the night, which ended up being Mandy Rose from Absolution taking on Natalya, one of Raw's brand new acquisitions. Now the match was okay, and admittedly, I don't know a whole lot about Mandy Rose yet, and I've never really been a big Natalya fan. She's fine, but she doesn't really do anything special for me. She's fine. Mandy Rose is fine. The match was fine. After the match, Natalya ended up getting attacked by both women, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. But who would come to make the save but Natalya's protege and trainee, Ronda Rousey. Now, it was kind of weird how Ronda made a slow walk down to the ring, but I can't complain a whole lot because she's still super over with the fans, and she did a great job in her debut match at WrestleMania. I'm excited to see what she ends up really doing on Raw, and I actually expected for Natalya to turn on her here, but we didn't get to see it. I do think that that's where they may lead into Ronda's first singles feud on Raw. Her versus Natalya. Mentor versus Master. But overall, the match was okay. The segment at the end was good and got use out of Ronda. Next up, we had a tag team match. DeBar taking on brand new Raw acquisitions, the Fashion Police. Now really, I haven't seen any bad matches coming from Sheamus and Cesaro as a tag team. And I absolutely love the entertainment value that Tyler Breeze and Fandango bring to a match when they're in it. I loved their work with the Usos on Smackdown Live, and I'm excited to watch them mix it up with the tag division on Raw now. Overall, the match was super entertaining. Both teams got in all these different spots, and they made it worth watching. I love it when you get a team like the Fashion Police who outside of the ring you don't really take seriously, but in the ring they make you believe that they can get the victory. And that's exactly what they did. Breezango, the Fashion Police, Tyler Breeze and Fandango beat The Bar. That's pretty insane for a debut. I was excited about it. Can't wait to watch more of it. Lastly, we had our main event, our 10-man tag team match. Now the match seemed like it was going to be obviously packed with nothing but star power. Pretty much every top guy they had on Raw is in this match. Earlier during Miz TV, we found out it was going to be Miz's last match on Raw since he was going to be going to Smackdown Live. So he wanted to make it a must-see match. And it was. It was a really good 10-man tag. Even though 10 guys is a whole lot to handle, they all served it pretty well in this match. Everybody got their licks in, everybody got their spots in, everyone looked good. Oh, and before I forget that fifth guy who was on the face team, it ended up being Bobby Roode from Smackdown. But anyway, back to the match. Match was good, and of course they ended up waiting to save Braun for last. Braun came in, cleaned house like you would expect Braun to do, and Braun was definitely the most over superstar in this match. They're utilizing Braun, and now that Braun isn't a tag team champion anymore, they can push him to his full potential and use him as the monster among men again that we all want to see. I love when Braun destroys stuff, and that's what he did in this match. He destroyed 5 guys. Entertaining. While Braun was in there facing off with The Miz, Miz went to tag out to Curtis Axel. Curtis Axel hopped off the apron. Miz went to tag Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas hopped off the apron. Both guys seemed like they were kind of apologizing, but now that Miz is going to SmackDown Live, they don't need to worry about the Miz. They don't need to help the Miz. There is no Miz-tourage. They're back on their own. Miz obviously seemed a little upset and dumbfounded by it, and ate a power slam from Braun. So Miz's farewell from Raw was taking the pin from Braun Strowman tonight. Overall, the Raw end of the Superstar Shakeup went pretty well, though I got pretty many predictions wrong. If you check out our last video, you'll see that I didn't do very well on the Superstar Shakeup predictions. But there's still Smackdown, which means I can still get some parts of it right. Either way, they were just predictions, just ideas. If you want to check it out in the link up here. In the end, Raw ended up with pretty many new superstars. Jinder Mahal, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Natalya, the Riot Squad, Breezango, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Roode. Pretty good amount of people. Plus, we found out about some others just on social media. Guys like Zack Ryder, Mojo Rawley, The Ascension, Mike Kanellis, with potentially Maria at some point. Plus, they showed a vignette for Baron Corbin, and apparently Chad Gable's coming over too. So Raw got a whole lot of talent, and hopefully SmackDown ends up with a good amount on their show as well. SmackDown cut a lot of guys over to Raw that you weren't seeing a whole lot of screen time from anyway. So it's going to be nice to see if they can build something for themselves on a show with more time for them. So that's all for our Raw recap here on It's a Work. If you liked what we had to say, or you didn't, let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that little bell icon so you're notified when we upload a brand new video. You can follow us on Twitter at IAW Wrestling, and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/itsawork. I'm Travis from It's a Work, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow for our SmackDown recap. Until next time.